All right. Hello, everyone. Hello. We are back. We are back. We are finally. All right. Let's have your conversation. I know we're on a new night, but I am Pastor Brenda G. Jones, or better, also known as Pastor BJ Connections, and none other than my illustrious co-host, than the Alyssa Wiles of Wiles World Worldwide.
Yes.
Every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. So we are back. Hello, everyone. We're asking you all, if you don't mind, if you can share. We have a topic for you tonight. Yes, we do. All right, we got a topic tonight. And so we are excited to be with you all on tonight. Do us a favor, share it for us, like as well as share. We want to talk to y'all on tonight. Let's have a conversation. We are back. And so we're excited. And so how have you been? Listen, Alyssa and I, we keep in contact. We had a full-fledged podcast session.
We already had our podcast already.
We had a full-fledged podcast session before the podcast session. But it was good. It was good. So we're going to try to pull out some of those points and talk, and we invite you all to talk and have a conversation with us, because that's what we're here to do. Have the conversation. And there's a lot of conversation that has been going on. I don't know if y'all saw Wiles World Worldwide this Saturday. They jammed. They were jamming. They were having a great time. So check her out on Saturday at 10 a.m. And so we'll be with you tomorrow at 7 o'clock p.m. for Bible study. Be here for Bible study. All right. So let's have the conversation.
Let's have it.
Yes. What are we talking about tonight? We're talking about gender roles. And our basis of all of this is basically okay. Sorry, y'all. I don't know. Jacked all up. I'm jacking everything up.
It's all right. It's our first night back.
Yeah, that's right. I'm jacking all of it up right now. All right, but that's what we can talk about. Y'all see the flyer right there. Are women ruling the world? Are women ruling the world? That's what we're going to talk about because we are in a 21st century mindset. And we want to talk about this real quick on tonight. It might not be real quick, but we're going to have a conversation. And so things are definitely changing, and things have changed since the 19th century, since the 20th century. Now we're in 21st century and all that wonderful good stuff. So let's look at this gender roles. Are women really ruling the world right now? And a lot of people seem to think that the women it's now the era of the woman. You know, back in women's lib and all that wonderful good stuff, they were talking about, I'm woman, hear me roar. You know, they wanted to exalt and, you know, women matter. Our you know, we can do anything a man can do. We have this totality of, you know, we can conquer anything, we can be everything. Who was it that put I'm every woman? Shaka Khan, wasn't it? Shaka Khan? No,
I was taking it to Whitney Houston, but yeah, Shaka Khan was first.
Shaka Khan did that, and she said, she coined that "I'm every woman." You know that song? Y'all know that song? Don't act like y'all don't know it. All right. So she coined that song, and so are we every woman? Are we the woman that can do everything and anything? And is it okay for us to do everything and anything? Is that okay? You know, let's have the conversation.
Let's have it. I say yes. And I will have to say, first of all, welcome back, beloved. It's nice to be back here with you on screen with you.
Yes.
So I would like to say that, yes, I think that we really are doing some amazing things. They're ringing my doorbell while
I hear ding dong. It's not Halloween trick or treating.
So we are in fact doing everything. Hold on, let me let them know that the door is open and stay on their side. So we are in fact doing a whole lot, and our statistics, especially in the Black community, our statistics are strong. We are leading the way in 4-year degrees with our advancement. And I mean, this is above everybody. Stop it. So above everybody, we are above everyone. With our advancement. So the whole thing is that I do believe, in fact, that we are doing a wonderful thing. We are, in fact, doing a wonderful thing. And I don't know where that puts us, especially when we're leading the pack in advancement. We're leading the pack in degrees coming out of 4-year colleges and things like that.
Yes.
We're also leading the pack in single parenthood and singleness. So I see that while we are steadily advancing, we're leaving behind. I don't know if we're leaving behind the idea of marriage, or if in fact it's just not working for us. Are we too goal driven? I don't know the intersectionality. I don't know where this thing meets, but I do know that we are really leading the way when it comes to advancement. So we are really doing it. And of course, our star right at this particular point is Kamala Harris.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So Kamala Harris kind of sets the bar high, and then that's where we are, and that'll probably be the basis of our conversation. And a lot of the things that we're talking about when we're talking about women are leading the way at present. And it's not just Kamala, but she is kind of like the star because she's on a national stage at present.
Yeah, because if you look at it, statistics show that there are more women that are now taking CEO seats of Fortune 500 companies. They're now becoming presidents of major corporations. They're becoming the helm of big business. Not only are they taking those seats, but they are also developing and creating multi-million-dollar companies that are, you know, not only reaching reaching globally, and not just national, you know, not just in the United States, but it's global. Absolutely. These women are setting bars and making marks extremely high. Like you said, college degrees. And I was looking from since 1970, college degrees, it used to be men, 60% of men get college degrees and 40% of women will get college degrees. But now it has flipped. Now it's 40% of men getting college degrees and 60% of women getting college degrees. And not only that, they're excelling in science, math, technology, medicine. You know, they're excelling in those key fields. You know, so like you said, now there are women now that saying, you know, do I still take on this traditional role of
absolutely
wife, mother, you know, caregiver in the house and all this other stuff?
Especially when we're the highest wage earner. When we're the highest wage earner, and we're starting to come out. Well, while most of our degrees are still being held predominantly, largely is the word that I'm looking for, largely in the social sciences, the social work, the education, things like that. We have stepped out boldly into the business arena and the production and the STEM, you know, STEM careers.
Yes.
So we are in fact doing all of those things. And I wonder where it is that it fits. Where does it come together? Where will it come together for love for us and us having such strong careers and us making such strong money at this particular point? So I'm wondering, because our conversation and our podcast that we had before the podcast, it kind of went all over the place. It really went wild at one particular point.
Right.
We started talking about, you know, are they prepared to lead in households when we've built such a strong foundation? If we in fact step back, would they be able to hold up the whole thing by themselves? Because I know that in a lot of situations still, men are still demanding, although the woman is out there and she's working and she's earning a high salary and she's paying 50% or more into this particular household, there are still demands on a woman when she comes home that a man does not have. You know, traditionally, a man is supposed to be a provider and things like that. Woman is supposed to take care of the home. Both of us are out because we've established this lifestyle. We've established this lifestyle, but it requires both of us to, in fact, continue to grind to uphold this life. Now, when we come home, though, I'm still putting in 89.95% of the work at home. Although I'm still putting in 50% of the bills here. So where's the equality in that?
So this is the thing, though. Now, I was reading, this is, they were saying more stay-at-home dads versus women being the sole breadwinner. Look at this. In 1989, it was 1.1 million stay-at-home dads. And women were being in 1989.
Really?
Yes.
I would have never thought.
Listen, so this has been gradually coming into play. Remember that it was a movie. I forget the movie now, but it is a movie where it was like, no, that. Wow, you went back, Mrs. Doubtfire. I used to love that movie.
I'm old. I'm showing my age here, right?
Like, what is it? Daddy Daycare.
Daycare.
All of those movies like around that time. That was in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, right? Where they were starting to talk about how men were beginning to stay at home and be stay-at-home dads, right? So now in 2012, it was 2 million men that were stay-at-home dads. 2 million men from 1989.
2012?
Yes, in 2012. It has doubled. So you have all these men that are staying home, women being the sole breadwinner. So the question becomes, because there was a question when I was reading this, is that a demasculation or emasculation of men?
Emasculation was really just about to roll off my tongue because I don't know. I see this seems extremely eerily unfamiliar for me because I don't know any men that would take on that position. The men that me, my brothers, you know, my cousins, all of the men that surround me, my ex-husband, my ex-mate, they are manly.
Manly men.
Home with nobody's kids, not their kids and not your kids. Ain't nobody staying home with no kids. So I don't even know where that. I don't know where they do that at. You know,
but I don't know if that's in the African American community because I know quite a few, and none that I have dated, because none of the men that I've ever dated will even go for that, and none of the men that I really know would even go for that stay at home bid. But I know even some of the men that are staying at home they are not staying at home with their own kids. Like they're like, no, you gotta get a babysitter because they don't even want to watch their own kids, like you said. So they like get a babysitter, and then so it's this. But why is it now that let's talk about the African American community. Let's look at the African American community because we deal with African American men, right? So the reality of it is we're taking on these positions, we're taking on these roles, we're coming out. I am a firm believer. I believe in gender roles. I am one. I stand on it. I'm one. All right. I believe in gender roles. In believing in gender roles, I just believe that some women should not take on certain roles. Like, I just think that some arenas, should be left to men. If there are, for example, and I'm probably gonna get a lot of flack from this from a lot of people and whatever.
I'm sitting here rocking back and forth, waiting to hear what you about to say. Like, woo!
I just believe that. Listen, now, like for example, NFL, right? Yes, women can be commentators in NFL, but why do we want to be commentators in NFL? Why? Just leave it to a man. Just leave it to the men. Not to say that we can't do it. I know people, Alyssa, like, woo. Listen, yeah. I'm not saying that we can't do it. I'm not saying that we cannot do it. Because I think we can do it, and I think we can do it well. Mm-hmm. But I just think that some things should still be left up to men. Have African American women, Black women.
Go ahead.
Have Black women been put in a role where we have to take on some of these roles because it appears. I'm gonna say it appears. All right, that African American men are not there stepping up, doing what they need to do. So we have to take on more roles than probably what we want to take on. Mm-hmm. But the reality of it is that I just think that there should be a line that identify gender roles. I don't want to have to lift those.
That's a slippery slope right there. That's a slippery slope and I think that's a hugely slippery slope for my homegirl, Pastor BJ Connections. So I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna say the pastor part because there's still a whole lot of men that feel that women shouldn't be in the pulpit.
Whoa, now, listen.
So then when you put that out there like that, then opens the whole world up. And I know we can go.
But remember, I said
all of those different things.
But remember, I said I'm not saying that we cannot do it.
You just think that there are some things that should be left to. There's some things that should.
Arenas. If it's just classified as a men's arena, why can't you just let the men just have it? If it's classified as a men's arena, you know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
But the reality of it is women had to take on certain roles. And listen, women's liberation, it pushed us out of what we consider to be our comfort zone, as well as our not so comfort zone. Because many of us did not want to be in the house, raising children. We wanted to go out, have careers, get education, so forth and so on. But then on the flip side of that, some of us was like, I don't mind doing that. But then we were forced to do it because of circumstances and situations.
Absolutely. And then, and as our conversation said, when we were podcasting before the podcast, I can clearly remember that we were talking. Well, I was talking about the independence role, and none of us just want to be strong, Black, and independent. Nobody came out of the womb wanting to take on the whole world by themselves. Nobody wanted a role where you had to be so strong. Our mother sent us, and this is a whole conversation, but. And we talked about this on one of our other podcasts about how Black women are sent to college to earn a degree so that we can take care of ourselves, so that we don't have to rely on
ourselves. Right.
Largely, and this is from conversations with white women in my lives. White women are largely sent to college to find their husband and get a degree to find your mate. Absolutely. If you find a mate, then it just is what it is. That's a bonus. But our parents sacrificed for us to be able to go and be on that college campus to get this thing so that you can go off and take care of yourself wholeheartedly without needing any just going to be what it is. Now that came from nobody wants to be independent, because even when I look at all that I've achieved as a divorced mother of two, I never wanted that though. That's not the life that I chose. When I got married, it was till death do you part. It did not work. So I had to go out there and I had to figure out some things, as not after my divorce. Troy was still younger. So I still had young children and I had to figure it all out. And I just steadily grew and grew and grew, and more degrees came and things happened, and status came and titles came and all of those different things. But I can recall meeting that man that was the manly man. And it was like, he was a leader. He was an absolute leader. And I remember how comfortable that felt. It was just how comfortable that felt to have somebody that was fit to lead. It was
absolutely.
So I have to say that while we are conquering the world, we do want somebody to hold our hand in the process. We still want to be, we have to be also, we have to stand before the crowd and we have to make the tough decisions outside. You still do want to have somebody at home that you can be submissive to, but that is in fact to a person, a man who's a man. That is
absolutely understand his role.
I just want to submit to you because you have a penis. I said it.
She said it. She said it. She said it. She put it out there.
Just having to be a man in the house does not mean for the man of the house. And
absolutely. But they understand their roles. That's a leader, a man that understands his role. He can easily occupy this space as being a leader. But a man that does not understand his role, and particularly in the African American community, who a lot of the males are raised by dominant females. So yes, and listen, that's a hard thing. You know, that is a really hard thing, because it can actually push a man to be one or two ways. It can actually push him to be, you know, so far away from his role in understanding who he is, or it can make him so controlling where he's becoming all abusive. So you could go either way with that, because that dominant female defines how he's going to view a woman. You know, and so that becomes key, and especially in the African American community. Listen, Jack Myers, he says in his book, he has a book called The Future of Men. That's what it's called, The Future of Men. He says the workplace, male dominance is quickly fading under education, and being outperformed by women. So male dominance is quickly fading. So does that put the men in a let's dive in, right? Does that put a man in, you know, a lot of African American men now are coming out to be, you know, very feminine in their approach of a lot of things?
Go ahead on and say it. Let's have the conversation. Don't let them have it. They've been waiting to have it for months.
Yes, right. So does that
put for months? Let it go.
One of the topics that we were talking about doing, this was some months back, we were talking about the feminization of African American men. So why now is it such that's a predominant view, or a dominant way of life, you know, today, because it's now a lot of African American males are coming out and they're just happy within their skin, but you find out that the majority of them were raised by what? Dominant women. A lot of them.
I know for sure a lot of us are goal driven. I have to say though that my independence was forced. Because of broken promises, letdowns, things like that. So I then had to, you know, put on my work boots and make it happen for me and mine.
Right.
It was just what I had to do. But I have to say that at age 48, that is not a desire of mine. I still want to achieve what it is that I seek to achieve. Right. I want to be able to fly in, and I want to be the motivational speaker, and I want to podcast all over speaking that into existence. I want to do all of those
That's
things
right.
that I set my sights to do. I still want to be the lobbyist and the activist and the advocate for our vulnerable communities. But I do want to be able to relax. I don't want to have to come home and make all of the hard decisions. I don't want to have to come home and find a plumber and, you know, find a builder and do all of those things. I would like to have a helpmate that I can submit to. At this
Absolutely.
that is extremely desirable to me. But again, that it has to be submission to a leader. And while my children are now adults, I would like to have somebody that is in fact a role model, still somebody that my children can look up to. I don't want to be with anybody that my children are embarrassed about me being with, or being with someone that my children have to come and talk to me about. You know, the same way that we need to talk to their child and give them advice. I do want somebody that's strong and that my children can in fact look up to. And it just can't be a man in a house. It needs to be the man of the house. I don't want to have to continue to carry this burden of just being the strong. And this is kind of wild, but I've always said I'm the strongest N-word in my life. I'm the strongest. Right. You know, I'm that man in my own life. You know, because relationships have come strong and faded. I'm left to do, you know, to keep it all together, and that's just the way that it has been. And it's a shame.
A lot of us have been thrust to do that. A lot of us have been thrust to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of us have been thrust to actually take on those roles that we don't. I personally, you know, like you said, you've been pushed into that position and that role. I hold so many leadership, quote unquote, if you will, leadership, dominant roles in my life, you know, that I don't want. Listen, in a relationship, no, I don't want to be the dominant one. I just want to sit back. I just want to say, okay, I want to be a damsel in distress. And I want to say, okay.
That's what it is that I want, but how are we able to in fact do that? Are we?
I think with the right person and the right mate, you can. I think with the right person and the right mate, you can. Like you said, if he understands his role, I think that once you once you get off, the stage, once you get off the stage, once I get out the pulpit, once, we get to these places that we have already taken on these roles. And if you have someone that understands their role in your life, when you come home, he's going to understand it. He's going to be able to allow you to be that woman that is just like that big word that a lot of people don't like, especially a lot of women do not like to say this day and age, that big word, to be submissive. He's gonna, and sometimes that word scares us because you're like, what does submissive look like?
What does that mean?
What does that mean? And I think you have to define it on your own. What does submissive look like?
And that has to be, those are conversations that need to be had. You know what I mean? Like, we can't be so gung-ho to just unite and connect that we don't have pertinent conversations, because I'm not willing to not be myself. I'm too old, to send in representatives, and then, I'm just trying to be the perfect little lady. No, I'm not the perfect little lady. And I need to, there are things that I want to do, and there are things that I'm going to do. There are some things that are very important to me, like building this brand and taking this whole Wilds Worldwide and Alyssa's Random Thoughts way out and way far. I don't want anybody that's going to be a hindrance to me with that. Like, I need you home. I need you to be cooking or whatever. I need a man that's going to be self-assured, because we are steadily climbing, and we are steadily climbing, and we've come out of the household boldly and strong. We're we're, as you stated, we're taking over corporations. We're taking over Fortune 500 companies. We're all over the airwaves. We're rapping and we're singing and we're producing and we're doing all of these different things. And we need to have somebody that is confident in letting us be ourselves, and is not taking away from their masculinity at all. So,
but if you have somebody in your life that's like that, I would honestly say, me being a pastor, being in this role, been preaching the gospel going on 26 years, right? And I have been preach for little small crowds. I preach for pretty big crowds, on my level and caliber. I have been, for many, many years, I have been the only female in the pulpit with a bunch of men, which is considered to be a male dominant role or male dominant arena. I have been, I've been called out to do things with other female leaders or pastors or whatever. But then, I've been in that place where it's like, okay, call Jones because she can handle it. And I'm like, yo, and so you have to come and you have to arrive and you have to do. But then after it was all said and done, it was as if, I did a disjustice to everybody, the men and everybody else, because now you shine so bright. Now the men are feeling intimidated by who you are. And then when you meet somebody, and I'm going somewhere, when you meet somebody, now it's like, oh, I don't know if I don't know if I want to be married to a pastor, or I don't know if I want to date a pastor, because, that role that you're in is too much. Because where does that put me at? Right?
That's a big thing.
He said, where does that put me at? And then some men love
him as the first man.
That's lies. When we had that conversation.
She paused and said, that's lies. What would he be called though? Really? What would you?
He would just be brother such and such, or whatever, call him by his first name, last name, I don't care, middle name, but he will not be.
Just don't call him first man.
First man, no, absolutely not. That's for other arenas, and I'm going to say it that way because, that's for other arenas. See, y'all weren't part of my conversation before the conversation. Y'all weren't part of that conversation.
See, the thing is, it's just so crazy because I just honestly don't even know. Because I know for sure that our callings are great, our works are great, our purpose is great. And I'm just concerned about where does that in fact put us? I don't know, because again, as we stated when we opened up, that we're coming out of 4-year colleges stronger than any other demographic. We're earning in greater strides than any other demographic. Now, of course, we're not earning what they make, but our gains are far greater than anybody else. Yes. But two, our statistics in leading out households as single parents are astounding. Our statistics concerning marriage are astounding, and lack thereof marriage are astounding. So our
statistics show that African American women are least likely to get married in this day and age.
Our negative statistics are as huge as our gains in our 4-year degrees. So I'm wondering, does that correlate? Like where does the intersection, where's the intersection of all of those things? Because there has to be some kind of correlation here. We are steadily leading out these households. We're making the money, but we're doing it by ourselves largely.
So the question becomes, do you sacrifice your career, your ambitions, and say, well, I'm okay with not having personal relationship, marriage, even children, do you sacrifice that for the career, for the platform, for the long hours and all of that stuff? Do you sacrifice all of that?
Why should we? This is good, because why should we have to? Because they don't have to sacrifice. Men don't have to sacrifice that, because as my husband was steadily gaining, I was right there. So why would I have to sacrifice my grand stage and my children and all of the because they don't have to. They don't have to. That's
absolutely. But some women feel like they do. Some women feel like they have to. And then there are some women say you can have it all. You can have, the career, the family, the husband, the platform, the prestige, the you know, 8-figure salary, 6-figure salary. You can have all of that stuff.
Is that I don't see that. I don't see it. Now, have I seen women with a mate and their children and all of those things? I have. I've seen that. I see it all of the time, right? But are they happy? Because largely those marriages are evil. So, you know, there's some disdain. There's some issues behind the scenes with her grandeur. There's some issues behind the scenes with her travel. There's some issues behind the scenes with her not being boots on the ground all of the time, you know, because they're getting divorced and he's immediately connecting with somebody else. And then Niecy Nash situation, Niecy Nash was the one that kind of, you know, immediately did her own thing. So there's while you see it, while you see the spouse that's right there on the red carpet, you know, what exactly is that story?
Okay, but this is good because I was just about to say this. Diane, men do make the sacrifice, because you think about it. Men that are in those power position roles, their wife usually is suffering somewhere behind the scenes where she's not getting enough attention, where she wants, you know, where she wants more of him and she's not getting it. There is a level of sacrifice, you know. She's even probably suffering behind the scenes because she knows that he has maybe 2 or 3 mistresses that, you know, she can't compete with, right? So, you know, he's flying here to Bangladesh, and I mean that's all the way around the world.
You see, I turned away. That was me exiting this conversation for a second or two.
Right? Listen. but the reality of it is that the reality of it is that, listen, they sacrifice. You know, you say you can have it all, but the reality of it is that sometimes you really can't have it all. What is going to lack in your life? Because if you're building a platform and you building the stage, then guess what? There is going to be something that lacks in your life. I hear it all the time. I've seen it down through the years, 26 years of preaching the gospel, almost 26 years of preaching the gospel, especially men in ministry, leaders, bishops. Guess what they've struggled with? They've been divorced. They struggle with their kids because they was like, I was on the road so much. They had the platform, but their house was suffering. You have a CEO, you have entertainers, they have the platform, but their household is suffering because they're left there for months on end, not having, you know, daddy or husband or babe or whatever you want to call them. You know, they're left not having them. They're missing engagements of children playing clarinets and all kinds of stuff,
right?
You know, so you sacrifice something. There is a sacrifice.
Will be the reason why we're seeing so many, and I will bring it close to home because my daughter has already said that she chooses, you know, like she will openly say, Mom, don't look for Miles is going to be the one to give you grandkids. He's going to give you a great big it ain't gonna be me. I'm gonna be the best auntie in the world. I'm not having kids because Troy is already saying that I choose travel and career.
Right.
I don't even want to be held back with anything. I don't want to be held back with the responsibilities back at home kind of thing. So I wonder if the millennials and the Z coming up behind us are going to choose, or well, they are beginning to choose. They're staking their claim right now.
They are.
I prefer not to have children or a spouse because that's going to hinder what it is I think that I can do in my mind. What it is I plan to do, you know, to fit into what I'm trying to do. I don't want to have home, or I don't want to have to dip back. I want to be able to live my life, and that's a shame.
But listen what they're saying. They're saying young people from the age of 25 to 29, the females are more likely to get in to go to college and to complete college. So 37% of the females are more likely to go to college and complete college than 30% of men. 30% of the males. So you still have that gender role gap still growing, even in this 25 to 29 years of age gap. You know, you have to know early on, is that something that you want to do? not have children. Me not having children, that was not a choice. That, I didn't get that choice. That was, there's a whole nother televised session. All right. All right, but so but people do take that position not to have children because they say, I want my children, I want my career. I don't want anything tying me down. I want to be able to get up and go whenever I want to. I don't want a husband, but I might have a significant other, because I don't want anything hindering me, tying me down. I want to be able to go. Is that healthy?
Because man is not meant to be alone. Man is not be on this earth alone, not at all. I think that we do need a companion, whether or not that's what comes out of our mouths. We do need companionship. You desire a mate. I have to admit that there were periods in my life where that's all I wanted, and I've told this story before how when I got married, that was my earnest desire. I wanted to be his wife. I wanted to bear his children. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to stack degrees, and I wanted to do mommy and me events with my 3 little babies. And this is what it was going to be. And I wanted to be an at-home mom. I wanted to serve my family. That's what it is. But as life turns out, divorce happened. I only had the 2 of the 3 children. I was no longer his wife. I had to go get it. I had to get it. And I have to say that because that thing didn't work out there were some sacrifices, there were some struggles on the behind the scenes, even with child rearing, because as I began to grow and as I began to, seek advanced degrees and do a whole bunch of other things, the children were kind of getting shifted from this place to this place to this place to this place to this place. And there was a whole lot of remorse. There was a whole lot of sadness in my heart that I felt that they didn't have either parent on site at some times. And it wasn't for elongated periods or anything. It wasn't like they needed to go live.
But you were trying to make things happen.
Yeah, trying to make some things happen. I was really trying to get my footing and make some things happen for us, because now I'm the custodial parent. Now I'm responsible for the day-to-day things. That the weekend. And if I needed him to pop in, of course he would in fact do that. He was very hands-on, but I was the custodial parent, and that was a major thing. So I can only imagine that a lot of the decisions that Troy's making is based off of her rearing, and I think that I've done a decent job with my kids, no doubt. I have no regrets, because even if it failed, I was doing the best thing I knew how to do at the time. So nothing was
exactly.
But just watching my show. In fact, let me just tell you this. Troy and I had a conversation, and I want to get her words right. Troy and I had a conversation during this pandemic. And she said, while your life and your struggle is admirable, it is not desirable.
Ooh, absolutely. Now, good. That's good.
And that's very poignant, and I didn't take any offense to it. She was just like, Mom, you really made it happen, but I don't want to live that life. I just don't. She doesn't even want a chance having children and then it not working out, and then she has to do it by herself. I'm just going to
go. That's scary.
That really is scary, because this was her reality. Because while I held it together so well, and she had a very good life, she was nothing. She took trips and she did all of the things. There was never a time that anything was happening that for financial reasons Troy couldn't be a part of. It just was not that. Miles was able to go away to a college and have a luxury vehicle and a black card and all of the acoustics at his HBCU. They wanted for nothing. But my daughter, now looking back and saying, there were periods where there was no man in the house, and my mom was everything. My mom was getting it. It all happened. But I know my mom was tired, and my mom desired these things. And just like she said, while it's admirable, it is not desirable.
Right.
Just to have that main stage without those responsibilities or that guilt of home being left behind.
Because that is a level of guilt. That is a level, and that's a level that you have to have that conversation. Not only do you have to have that conversation with yourself, but you have to have that conversation if you have a significant other or you run into somebody. I mean, I don't know. I think everybody at some point in time in their life desire, quote unquote, true love, if you will. And I'm saying that loosely because, it all depends on what you think love is. All right. Everybody desire that place of having someone to walk out their journey with. Everybody does, and to have those moments of times of celebration, to be right there. Everybody desires that. So it's still that questionable balance of can you really have it all? Can you have it all and it still balances itself out? Because if you get two people you get a relationship with someone that is a grinder, just that grinds just as hard as you grind. Y'all got to calendar y'all events to spend time with one another. And I'm talking about holistically, you're calendaring everything to spend time with one another. Who was it? What's the one of the girls from Mary? She said that she, because her schedule and her husband's schedule, he's a producer.
Yeah.
And she was saying, they would schedule and calendar their time to have intimacy. Come on now, really? Like, wow. That's crazy.
And I'm looking at Evangelista is on our podcast, and Evangelista is one of those people who has mastered the art of that. So she's a person who can speak on this because whatever she does, her main stage is with her family.
See,
that is the wonderful thing, that her husband is always right by her side as she does her ministry. And the children are there they're the photographers, and it's a whole family approach. But when in fact, I am in fact a CEO over here, and you are a contractor over here, and then we have Miles, Troy, Maxwell, and Bryce, and those are all my dream names for my kids.
I see.
See how I spit that out like they were really kids in my house.
Right, I was like,
where all of those things are happening and everybody's playing a different sport. And Troy is AAU, and we're in Idaho this week.
Right,
and there's so many sacrifices that need to be made. And largely, women are the ones that take the hardest hit. We're the ones that step down. We're the ones who make the hard decisions to say, okay, well, I can't accept this position, or I'm going to try. I need to work from home this many days to get these different things done. I just don't know. I don't know.
But that goes back to that gender role, right?
Yeah.
Because in the larger scope of things, women do normally make the detailed sacrifice. That's what they are, detailed sacrifice for the sake of the family, to take care of the kids, or to make sure that the house is good, or to make sure that even their spouses are good, because of the fact that that's that gender role that we fall into, and so, but people are getting away from it. Our society in this 21st century, they're really getting away of that defining role. Studies shown that more kids are growing up in households where, those traditional gender roles are not, they don't see that, they don't see, they're seeing everything but that. So I'm gonna ask you a question.
I'm scared. I'm scared because you set back a little bit. Oh God.
This is another gender role. Huh?
I thought you were about to ask a question that was gonna make me act a fool.
Oh no. Well, okay, this I don't know. Is it because this is becoming more and more popular? Because again, that gender role is erasing. Is it okay for a woman to ask a man to marry her?
The devil is a liar.
Traditionally, early century, it was
no sir.
Men ask women. So is it okay? I want to hear from the people that are watching. Is it okay for a woman to ask a man to marry her? That goes back to those gender roles.
No.
Right? Proposal in early 20th century was typically done by a man.
Yeah. Let me say, please, people, we need for you to chime in.
Share. Said yes.
Our watch party. We need to get this message out. We are back. And we thank you guys for joining in. And Di said, yes, I'm not asking anybody to marry me. But what I will say, too, is that I'm not allowing anybody to put me on layaway. As old as we are, you know what you want to do with me immediately.
Yes.
Either you want to go ahead on and bag me and take on my last name, because I've said a million times, I'm keeping my last name. So we're going to be Mr. and Mrs. Wilds. And it's just what it is. I'm not giving up my last name again. So, but no, I just can't even imagine. I can't even imagine asking somebody to marry me. That's just no.
So
do all kinds of other things. I want to be a carpenter. I want to get into carpentry. I want to learn how to build some things on my house. I want to do all of those non-traditional things. I want to learn mechanics. I want to be able to fix my own stuff on my car, like the minor things. But I'm not getting down on one knee or any knee to ask anybody to marry me. And if for a whole year and you haven't made a decision on me, it's okay if you walk out the door and you just don't return, because I'm not going to go away for a very long time. I said it.
Now, listen, I am a stickler with that, especially now in the age that we're in, right? The age bracket that we're in. No, I do not think it's okay. I don't think it's cool. I think it's very, very tacky. I'm gonna just say it. I think it's very, very tacky for a woman to ask a man to marry her. I think that is just totally whack. But anyway, so no, I agree. But y'all answer the question. Do y'all think it's okay for a woman to ask a man to marry them?
They're saying no, except for Di. Di's daughter-in-law asked her son.
Somebody said my son. She's the captain in the Air Force. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that worked out. That good job, Batista.
Batista said she kept her last name. Now listen,
I love her even more now. I love her even more.
In the Indian culture, because I have a family that I had to go out and do an investigation on, right? And I met them, and they was cooking curry. So we just got into a full-fledged conversation. I'm like, I smell curry. Good curry, right? Curry. I said curry. They were cooking curry. And so I'm like, yes, let's talk about this. So, and I kept wondering her last name. I said, are y'all married? And they was like, yes. I said, legally, because I can ask these questions as a social worker. I can get all into your business as a social worker. So
I know it.
Right. So they said yes. And I said, well, how come her last name is different from your last name? And he says, in our culture, we don't make big deals about that. He was like, she could keep her last name if she wants to keep her last name. He said, it doesn't matter. In our culture, we don't stress that a woman takes on a man's last name. That's what they said. And I said,
not be a big deal. Mr. Alyssa, wherever you are, I need for you to not make it a big deal. Because Alyssa is going to remain Alyssa Dolores Wilds. It is. I'm asking you to.
I'm dropping my last name. I'm dropping it altogether. That's okay. It's too many Joneses in the world anyway, and I don't need another one. I get my last name Jones.
It's not a whole lot of Wilds. I want to uphold my dad.
I'm dropping it. It doesn't even matter. I understand it got my daddy blood on it. I get that. It's my daddy's last name, but it's cool. I'm okay with it. There's a lot more Joneses out there in the world. It's okay, but yeah, so this is the thing. What were we talking about? Oh, okay. Marriage proposals.
Mm-hmm.
So the marriage proposals in its totality, if we are defining gender roles, like I said earlier, does every role need to be a woman's role? It goes back to, like I said, the NFL. If you say, no, a man got to ask me. No, a man got to ask me. So there are some arenas whereas though it's just a man's arena. So let a man stay in that arena.
I'm thinking that I think that, just like Di said, and I think we will all agree that these are conversations that need to be had in the beginning. Because if you want to be the man of the household, for me to be submissive, and I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that you have to do all of these things for me to be submissive. If you are a strong leader, then I'm going to allow my man to take the lead. But I'm saying that if in fact I have to pay 50% into this household, I'm expecting you to put 50% into the house. If I'm putting 50% into the household, I'm expecting you to put 50% into the household. And I mean the whole entire thing. I'm going outside, I'm pouring money into this house to get these bills paid. I'm not expecting to do that financial portion and then do 100% in the house. I just think that it's totally unfair to even.
No, I think you got to share those roles. I think those roles need to be shared.
But those are conversations. You have to, those are conversations. And I think that any successful anything begins with a strong conversation and understanding and agreement. Absolutely. Because you can't just decide that you're going to slide by major conversations and then enter into something and hope that it gets better or hope that we don't have to deal with these things. Reciprocity is in fact key. It definitely is. Those are real hard conversations. What are your expectations of me? You know, sometimes you will meet people and you know immediately, because some men are just upfront, some women are very upfront, but some people will just decide to bypass conversations because you want to link with this person so bad. Because sometimes we focus so much on the wedding that we forget about the marriage in this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So we want to bypass major conversations and we want to go ahead on and downplay things that are major to us. But there are some things that are so major that we need to have this talk at the first couple tables. There's no sense of me wasting your time if in fact these are your ideologies. You know, if your mores are not intact, if you are not a man of integrity, I don't care how good you look. I don't care how great sex is or all of those different things. Those are things we begin to settle on some things, and then you get into this marriage, and it's a lot harder to undo once you've legally done this thing.
Absolutely.
There are some things that you just know that you can't tolerate, that you're not willing to do on both sides. It needs to be hashed out and then say, you know what, while I love you with my whole heart, I don't think that this is a long-term thing. Because there's just something I'm not willing to do. I'm not willing to, at this particular point, if I'm outside of the whole household. And again, I will say that it is my earnest desire to submit. It is my earnest desire to submit to a man that leads the house, a man in the house, but a man that leads the house. So that's desire. That I still have some goals, some dreams. I would love to come out of my 9 to 5 so that I will be able to do this whole Wilds Worldwide, Alyssa's Random Thoughts, champion thing full time from home. I would love to be able to do that and then to fly out and do my workshops and things. I would love to be able to do that, but you can't have such huge demands on me financially that I need to go get it. But then I can't have any expectations of you in the household and what the household requires, the cooking, the cleaning, you know, the care of the children. Now that's not my issue. I'm not having another child. I don't even know if I can carry
in our age bracket, you know, unless you just got you don't really have young children unless you started later on in life. You know, you don't really, in our age bracket, our kids, you know, are mainly, you know, 16, 17, 18, and some a little older, depending on how young you had them. But the reality of it is that you have to make some choices and some decisions. And that becomes that conversation. You know, having these long, you know, dating long term and say, like we talked about earlier before the conversation, you know, dating long term is, you know, in our age bracket, you got to know where you're going, and the person that you're talking to and dealing with, you have to know where you are, where they're going. Like, like you said, is this just, you know, we just gonna kick it, or we trying to make this thing last forever? What are we doing?
At my age bracket, let me take and tell you something. Let me tie my tie because I'm about to let me take and tell you something. We ain't kicking it.
In our culture, it's a man's world, so I had to deprogram what my husband was taught: a serious conversation, creativity from the woman to show him how to be loved, what's love language, etc. That's true. Now that's true. Now listen. I've been saying it, and I was saying
it. I ain't kicking it. So if you got a kick it culture, stay out of my inbox. Okay.
And she can't close to the screen. Stay out of her inbox if you got a kick it culture.
Yeah, it's just not something that I want to do. I'm not in a kick it frame of my life. I'm just not there. My earnest desire is to either go ahead on and be at peace by myself, or
absolutely
to find a mate that I can two-step into my golden years with. Two-step. That's what my goal is. So
that's the thing, you know. I like what Evangelista said. She was saying that she had to deprogram her husband. You know, a woman can bring out the worst in a man, or they can bring out the best in a man. And a man can bring out the worst in a woman, or they can bring out the best in a woman. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes you just got to realize, like, this is just not what it is. It's nothing but nothing. And so you got to move on. So, sometimes if that person is bringing out the best in that individual, then you got to go with it. You got to have those conversations, and you can have those conversations, and those conversations can be, productive and open and inviting, and you can get a whole lot of stuff done. But it's the problem when you don't have those conversations and people are not really focusing on what they really want in the long-term future.
Absolutely.
And this is the thing. How do you define, if you're going to be involved with someone, how are you going to define your relationship? Because your relationship might look totally different from my relationship. Might be more of a tradition, which, I'm more of a traditional girl. So, it's okay. Do we still believe in chivalry? Do we still believe in opening up car doors? Do we still believe in the man holding the door? Do we still believe in those things? Because those, again, are part of gender roles. Do we still believe in that? I like it. Sometimes I get a little ahead of myself, but I like when a man open up a car door for me. I do. I get a little ahead. I was like, because I'm wide open anyway, right?
Yeah, and it's all a matter of as we continue to make such large gains, as we continue to lead the pack in quite a few things, both negative and positive. Mm-hmm. I think that the goal ultimately is to have hardcore conversations in the beginning about what it is that this looks like, where it is that I'm heading, and hold no punches. My goal is right now, Wilds Worldwide is on Facebook Live, but my goal is, and prior to the pandemic, I had all of these workshops scheduled all over the country. I was supposed to be in Iowa, and I was supposed to be in Oregon, and I was supposed to be in Arizona. Can you in fact handle those things? Because as the world flips back around and as things get settled again, this is what my goal is. I'm not playing it small. I'm not going to downplay myself.
Absolutely.
I'm myself to look like what it is that you need at this particular point. I'm telling you that Alyssa is grandiose, and it's about the below. Can you in fact where it is that I'm going?
Absolutely.
If you're insecure, if you're controlling and your mind goes and all of those things, there's no sense in us even playing this game, because I don't want to get attached to you and then begin to try to settle, in some area comfortable, because I'm outside of that portion of my life where I want to make anybody else comfortable and downplay myself. I'm ready to do Alyssa, and I need somebody that's going to be strong enough to be by my side, and be confident in it, confident and cool with it, with being by my side and bigging me up and supporting me in my grandeur. This is my time. This is my heyday.
Absolutely.
And I need somebody that's going to be confident, somebody that's going to praise God and two-step. Praise God and two-step. That's my goal. I want somebody.
There you go.
Praise and a mean two-step.
And that's the thing. And there it is. Because you understand and you have defined what you need, what you want, and what you will like in your future. And so when you understand that, then you don't have to waste time on whether or not I call it the interviewing process. And that's what you do. You interview, and if you're not, if you're going to hire somebody, they got to have the right skill sets in order to be on that particular job. And if that person don't have the right skill sets, you're interviewing, you're asking the questions, you're getting the data. And listen, either they got the right skill sets or they don't. This is not the time for any of us to waste time on what possibly somebody else wants. Either I'm gonna fit into your world, right? I'm gonna fit into your world, and you gonna fit into my world, or we just gonna have to part worlds. We have to go this way.
That's absolutely correct. So what are we doing, Mr. Wilds? Where you at?
What are we doing? So that's the reality of it. Now, I know with gender roles, and we're enjoying this conversation. And listen, we're gonna be back on next. We're doing bi-weekly now, y'all. We're doing bi-weekly. So October the 26th at 7:00 p.m. will be our next Let's Have the Conversation. But in our gender roles, let's have the conversation with whomever. How do you define? How are you going to define your relationship with someone, and how are you going to define your life?
Mm-hmm.
You know what you need and what you don't need. Most of us are falling into traps because we don't understand what we want, need, and like. So you have to figure out what you want, need, and like. Gender roles are changing, but if you require certain things in your life, whatever stage you are in your life, then stick to those things. If you want to be a stay-at-home mother, then that's your role. Then by all means, be a stay-at-home mother.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter. If you want to be that career woman, don't have children and go on and travel around the world or whatever, then do that as well. If you want to be a man, then be that leader in whatever arena. I don't care whatever arena you're in. Be a leader as a man. You have to be that leader. You have to know what your role is. I'm personally, listen, I don't know. I don't salute men staying at home raising children, but hey,
I was waiting to hear you say that. You was like, listen. I was like, what's she about to say? I'm not interested in that either, but I am interested in the man that is willing to take my name. And
right.
I'm be comfortable because I'm like, man, I'm a whole lot. But what I will say though is that it is imperative that we have real live conversations and let them know where we are hoping to go. We're not living just today, because if this person is going to be in your life, they're going to be in your life for a lifetime. So we need to be confident in having conversations about the long haul, where we're projecting, where we're hoping to go, so that they this is the movement. This is the wave. I'm not always going to be right here in this particular space. Can you handle that? Is that okay with you? And ensure that you're connecting with somebody who can fit into, who can grow with you.
That's absolutely.
Who can grow with you, and who you won't have to leave behind, or who will be uncomfortable in where you're going.
Absolutely.
I think that is a major thing, because as we grow, what did Shabria tell me? Just go, but grow. You'll grow as you go, but just go.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
It is to go and grow as we go. So we want somebody that can grow with us. We're not trying to leave you behind, but we're still getting larger and larger and larger and larger out there. Absolutely. Can you handle it?
And that's the thing. Can you handle it? And understand, find someone that's okay with you growing and going. But not only that, find someone that y'all can grow together.
Yes.
Y'all can grow together. A lot of times one is growing and going and the other person is stagnated, but you got to learn how to grow together. And whatever that grow together looks like, then you can make it better.
Absolutely.
So anything else, last words you want to say?
No, that was good. That was the mic drop.
All right. So listen, thank you all for joining us for Let's Have the Conversation. We are back officially. Yes.
Yay.
Every other Monday. So our next Let's Have the Conversation will be on Monday, October the 26th at 7:00 p.m. We are coming back with some great topics. We will be back with some great topics. Don't forget to watch your girl, Alyssa Wiles, A Wiles World Worldwide, on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Chime in, follow her. If you have not followed her as of yet, do so. And don't forget, amen, I will be with you all. Amen. Pastor Brenda G. Jones, I'll be with you all on tomorrow evening at 7:00 p.m. for Bible study, and Wednesday morning for Breaking of Day prayer conference call. 15 minutes can change your life. Yes.
Absolutely.
So follow us on YouTube at Pastor BJ Connections as well. So we thank God for you all, because we do.
Thank you. We appreciate you guys, and help us spread the word. Help us to get the word out that we are in fact back. And that every other Monday. We'll be on every other Monday. We'll be back October 26th at 7 p.m. Monday at October 26th at 7 p.m. So spread the word. Help us to get the word out, and like and share and tag people in this broadcast, because we want people to know that Let's Have the Conversation is back. All brand new. We are energized and ready to go. It's going to be cool.
Yes. We're going to have some great topics though.
Yeah.
Stay with it. All right. Thank you all.
Excited. See you later.
Appreciate y'all. See y'all later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.